Hello and welcome to Players Guild. My name is Loki and I'm joined by our lovely guild master Scott Setman.
Hello, we're going to be talking about Swordcraft starter deck here, Blade of Resentment. Yep, it is Resentment, not Resessment, as I was about to say.
Nope,
Um, bef- hmm?
it is resentment. It's not.
Resessment, which is not a word, I
It's
don't
not
think.
Blade of Recess.
Reset. Oh, that'd be kind of cool though. Like a reset collab set. That's a weird Disney deep cut, but don't need to worry about that.
Yeah.
But yes, before we get into the breakdown of asking, is this deck any good? Do need to mention our affiliate link, which is with Voltex. If you go into the description, you can find our link for the UK and the US. And if you use our code Players Guild, you save yourself 10% on any Voltex product, which is always handy and it helps out the channel immensely. So at least please go and check out those to see what products they have on offer. So now let's get into it, Loki. Blade of Resentment. What have we got on the cards today?
So Blade of Resentment is a not royal. It's a swordcraft uh,
Mm-hmm.
deck. We're going to be going through the exclusives again, which it's a deck for Shadowverse Evolve, which we should have mentioned somewhere.
Probably.
Yeah. It's a brand new game that's coming out at the end of June. It's
Mm-hmm.
brand new for us. It was already out in Japan for over a year. There is a not box opening, a premium starter deck opening on our channel, and there's already a elf thing Forestcraft deck starter deck analysis on our channel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am using very often Japanese nomenclature. I will try to move in towards the English one because I was playing the game in Japanese for ages.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be talking about the exclusives, and we might as well start with the legendary for the starter deck, which is Tsubaki, a 6 play point 5/4 with a fanfare ability. So when you play her, you choose one of the following effects. You select an enemy follower on the field and destroy it.
Pretty good.
Or you give this follower Storm. Followers with Storm can attack enemy followers and leaders immediately.
Mm-hmm. So this is like Rush, except this allows you to hit players.
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah.
Rush only
Whereas
allows
Rush
you
is only.
followers,
Mm-hmm.
and Storm is anywhere.
Yep. She's an assassin ninja, which is going to be important. At least if not in this deck, down the line, because ninjas are cool, assassins are cool. Yeah, I really like her. I think 6 is quite. It's good. It's a good cost to play. Her stats could be a bit better because damage is permanent. But she comes in, she can pop something, or she can go in for face, which I think is actually really good depending on the matchup.
So, from as much of the game as I played, she is way overstated for her cost.
Mm-hmm.
She is stupid strong because 4 health is just enough to stay you outside of that basic removal, which deals 3 damage,
Yeah.
which is all she needs to be. And then
Mm-hmm.
you either pay 6 to remove any follower and still have a body, or you pay
That's true.
6 to do 5 damage to face, which is a quarter of your life.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, yeah, yeah. Okay, I see it that way. I see it that way.
Paying 6 to remove quarter of someone's life is a scary thing, or even remove a threat or something else. She is very powerful, and the same as with the Forestcraft
Mm.
legendary. She doesn't require any setup or any other cards to work. She's just strong on her own, which is
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, that's true. Yeah. So next up,
Next one is Floral Fencer, which is our basic evolve follower. So
yeah,
all of the
freeze across the board.
yes, so all of the classes are going to have one of those that are 3 play points, free, evolve for 1, and do something on evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Important thing to mention is she's an officer. Main thing for Swordcraft is officers and commanders.
Mm-hmm.
So there's an interaction between them. Although I'm not sure they translated it into Shadowverse Evolve, but that was the main interaction they had. And this is the evolved version. On Evolve, you summon 2 tokens, Steel-clad Knight and Knight. And she becomes a 4/4. And just going through the tokens quickly, the Knight is a 1 mana 1/1 to get a fairy essentially. He's another officer. And Steelclad Knight is a 2 mana 2/2. So to summarize with her, you pay 4 play points and you get 7/7 worth of stats.
That's pretty good.
Swordcraft is the aggro deck. The aggroest of the aggro decks. Which is scary. I don't like it, but yeah. And moving further on with the assassins, it's a Moonlight Assassin.
Yeah, so she's a 2-cost. She's got 3/2 stats, and I can't quite make out that effect. So if you want to go through
I should have taken it. Yes, sorry. So this is activated effect. So that symbol, that blue thing next to the cost of the effect is that you can activate it during your turn. So you can pay 1 and give this follower Bane, which means after the damage is exchanged, it just kills whatever it's fighting.
So Death Touch.
Death Touch. Right. Yes.
Okay.
So it's an assassin, right?
It makes sense.
You can pay 2 and then during your turn when the Moonlight Assassin can attack, you can just pay 1 and then she gets Bane and you can attack and kill whatever.
Yeah, she's good. I actually quite like that. I think that's a nice little. I mean, she doesn't have rush, so she's got to be there for a turn.
Yes. And she only has 2 health, which means she's very easy to remove.
But you kind of force your opponent to deal with her, which I think is important.
And otherwise, it's a very good offensive card. Even if you don't use her to remove anything, it's a 2 mana 3/2, which is threatening that aggression.
Very true. Very true.
Next one is White General, which is a commander with a rush. 4 mana 5/3 rush, which means it can attack followers. And strike. So after it deals damage to another follower, you select another follower on your field and give it 2 attack. And again, that boost stays permanently. Yeah.
I really like how boosts do carry over in this game.
Yes.
And it does encourage you to go, I'm dropping this boy for 4, which is a 5/3. Yeah, okay, the 3's a bit meh on a 4, but it's fine because you're going to go in, you're going to swing, and then you also like transcend that power onto something else that it might not have swung this turn, or it's something you know your opponent's going to crash into, so you want to get the most out of that trade.
Yeah, he's a very powerful guy, and this one is a commander, which means that I think there is that playoff in the mobile game. There was a card that flat out searched any commander in your deck,
which is good, and that includes amulets and spells as well.
That is correct. Any commander card.
Yeah.
And next we're going. This is a very weird one, and I'm not sure I exactly agree with this, but nevertheless, this is the gold rare of the deck. It's a 2 play point 3/3 commander. With nothing else.
So just a 2/3/3 vanilla.
Yes. And it's considered to be a gold
rare. I mean, it's fine, right? Because it's like, okay, cool. I'm paying 2 to try and get a big hit on here, but also it's in that free spot where it is removable.
Yeah. That's that free spot that every class has 1 removal spell that deals 3 damage. On quick. Because you do need to have some sort of support like that.
Yeah, of course.
Quickblader. I don't dislike this card, but I think it's a bit oppressive.
Yeah, so it's a 1/1/1, which is okay. That's fine. It's evolved for free. It has Storm though, which is Storm. Every time you see Storm, it's scary.
Yep. And then, what? I put them in the wrong order.
Oh,
there we go. That's his evolved.
Yeah, so it can become a 3/3 with Storm, which is it's gonna be
pay 4 to deal 3 damage.
Yeah. Again, it isn't that nice removal range though, where 3, which is good. It's this deck. You've got to be careful of what they're gonna play and when you counter essentially.
Yes, this is the aggro deck, which means it wants to play out things, but the problem with aggro decks is that their stuff is very vulnerable. Which is why they put them in that range of 3. It's not as bad as a range of 2, because the generic removal spell for 1 deals 2 damage.
Yeah, I agree. So like the fact is that you can evolve up to this to make it a little bit safer and
Yeah.
force your opponent to pay more into that. But again, it comes back to that balance and to and fro where you have to be prepared for this because if not, this deck will just storm into you.
Yeah. Next one is Oathless Knight, which is another evolve unit. At 2 play points, 1/1 summons a Knight token, so the 1/1 token we have seen, but it can evolve for 1. And after you evolve, it becomes a free 1 with a sail.
Yeah, so this can swing into a reserved follower on your opponent's side, which is basically them in active mode if they haven't swung, which I think is actually really good on a free 1, because it's going to hit that free number and it's also going to die in the process. But it's important to just, if your opponent's being defensive and they're keeping those things up, this can kind of interrupt that pattern, and it's not that hard, right? It's pay 2, I think, overall, pay 3.
Pay 3 overall, but you also get a body out of that.
Because
you get the Knight.
Because you get the Knight token.
The other thing I wanted to point out is it goes from 1/1 to 3/1.
Which is another big jump.
Yeah, which means that if you just leave Oathless Knight on the board, and at some point you just need to finish the damage, you just pay 1, evolve into 3/1, and go face.
Yeah, that's true.
Because evolution follows the same summoning sickness. So that means if your follower was already able to attack into a player, after you evolve, it will still be able to attack into follower.
Yeah, it's like, oh, well, they've only got a 1/1 there. It's like, oh, actually, no, I can evolve. Hello.
Yeah. And then it becomes a question, how many evolution Oathless Knights are they actually running? Because that's the problem with the evolve deck, because that's a secret area.
Yes.
Then we have Fencer.
Really lovely. I love the artwork on this card. It's so cute. It's a free cost, free, with the fanfare of select another follower on your field, give it +1/1. That's huge, honestly.
That is such an amazing card.
I really like it. She comes down, she meets her cost and criteria by paying herself, which is fine. But then she can easily turn. So if we go back to White Knight, I think it was.
The Oathless Knight?
No, White Knight. Is it White Knight? Nope, not Quickblader. White Knight.
White
that
General.
one, yeah. White General, sorry, not White Knight. So it fixes the problems of him swinging in here. So you play her, he's got rush, boom, and then strike, and then you can pass that back on to whatever you want. I think that's a really nice way of protecting him from a battle. As you mentioned, this +1/1 stays.
Yes.
That makes him very scary to deal with, right? Because then you're going to be essentially trading out 2 characters to try and take him down.
Yeah. It's definitely a scary combo, but the fact that she can just grow anything you have to just be more of a threat to finish the game. And if you play her on curve, if you had that 1-drop or 2-drop, we have seen what was the Oathless Knight, that's a 2-drop that gives you another body. It's very difficult to remove multiple bodies. There's only a few cards. Oops, that was a spoiler.
She's probably my favorite card in the deck thus far, apart from the legendary, which, as you mentioned, is very undercosted. Undercosted. Yeah.
That legendary is just a bit. I think if it was a 4/4, it would have been fair. 5/4, I think it's a bit much.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from with it.
And the final card is the removal that a Swordcraft has.
Unbridled Fury.
Yes, that's their quick spell removal, which is a 1-drop. Select an enemy follower on the field and deal X damage, where X is equal to the number of followers on your field. So this
can
deal
be up to 5.
Up to 5, exactly.
Which
it's very difficult to have 5, because even if you play in aggro mirror match, you're just going to be trading with each other.
Yeah.
So usually it's going to be hitting between 2 and 3.
I was gonna say that you want to be hitting at 3, really.
Yes.
That's kind of the number, and it's also for this deck. It's manageable. There's enough in this deck where you can boost it to the point where these guys can stay past that free removal.
Yes. And the thing is that you can also use it during your turn. You don't need to wait for that quick. So you don't need to give your opponent opportunity to remove your stuff.
No, that's true. If you've got
play out
a bunch of tokens on there.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that it has potential to go up to 4 or 5 is amazing.
Hmm.
But the problem is, for example, this removes your incentive to play amulets because this doesn't count amulets.
No, it's followers specifically. Yeah.
Yes, which means that if you have amulet, you have one less follower that you can have.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from with that, and I think it seems like Swordcraft here is designed to go in and just try and flood the board with as many knights, commanders, generals as possible. And yeah, I
Just
think
gotta go fast.
it's got to go fast. It's got the storm. I like how it comes with the Quickblader and the legendary. The legendary, I think, is going to see way more use outside of this deck than it will in this deck, but it's also a very good card to have.
In this deck, it's
um,
a really good finisher,
mm,
and it's
but
also
with the stat, it's
helps
going to
you
be.
stabilize. If your opponent plays, we have it actually here on the list. Angelic
Mm,
Sword Maiden is a ward unit that's 4/6,
mm,
which means suddenly it's very difficult to go around that. And I was sitting quite smug on that follower after I boosted its health a bit, and then my
yeah.
opponent just dropped Tsubaki. I was
Boom.
sad.
And it's gone. Yeah, right. It is just one of those things where it's like I drop this and I go, okay, I can't hit you for face this turn, but
But
I've just removed
I
something
opened
you were
the path for the rest of my stuff to hit you in the face,
exactly,
which is the
and
point of it.
it's great. I think so. Overall, like if you're an aggro player, this deck may be worth your look. For mine and your styles of play, it's not our favorite type of play, but there are some very good things of here that will generate you value outside of this deck. So if this might not be your theme, there's definitely worth picking up for the Tsubakis and the Quickbladers and some of the other pieces as well, because I think there are like really cool tech choices from this deck that you can apply elsewhere as well.
Yeah, a royal class is a very strong class for the aggressive. They can take out the damage out of nowhere, and in the mobile game, it's the interaction between the commander and the officers that just makes it so interesting. In here, I'm not sure how they're going to play it out because a fencer, for example, that we have seen is a commander card that in a mobile game was only boosting officers,
Mm,
and in here it boosts anything, which means that they don't have their gimmick, nor do they have their own keyword.
mm.
Which I'm waiting to see what they're going to do with it. And yeah, I have not looked much into the first set, so I don't remember really what's in there.
That's fine. But again, you can't go wrong with buying one of these starter decks because you get free ofs for all your exclusive cards, which is a really good value. And you get given your tokens, and yeah, you basically get given everything you want to start with. So if this is a type of deck that you think, hey, I really like that, then we can't go wrong with recommending it because it is a great starting point for this game.
Yes. And I think the artwork is also, it has that good balance of having a good fantasy feel to it, but
With that
also have
anime Japanesey
with
flair.
the anime waifu, etc.
Yeah,
But I don't, as much as I'm not a big fan of the waifu, I don't find them offensive in here.
yeah. And when you say offensive, you don't mean big. You mean like over in your face, like
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
I can build a deck without having only waifus in my deck and still be a good deck. I'm not
yes,
forced into playing the waifus.
yes, exactly right. Yeah, I'm a big fan. It really invokes that Final Fantasy style for me, especially
Yes.
with some of the male characters. Like it really does take me back to those like Final Fantasy sketches you see where they're powerful, but you can tell they're from Japanese influence.
Yes. Fun fact for because I just learned this when we were researching this game. Uh, original Shadowverse video game was made by the same people who made Grand Blue Fantasy and Rage of Bahamut,
Oh,
two
cool.
very popular Japanese games. Bahamut actually makes a comeback in the card game.
Awesome. Right. So, guys, again, quickly, if you do need binders, deck boxes, please check out our affiliate links in the description and save yourself 10% with the code Players Guild. It helps us, it helps our brand, and it helps, it just helps. And it saves you some money. You can't go wrong with that. We've been Players Guild. I've been Scott Sedman, joined by Loki Smith, and we'll see you next time.